brother was with me in Washington, D.C., and in fact, he and some member of his team, they spent the whole night working on this, and they were rerouting money. So basically, to the areas of Port-au-Prince that were not affected by the earthquake. And basically what this company, they end up doing also is they use people that had motorcycle. And then basically, they use these people to alert the clients that they had in their database. And that's how people were able to get their money. So, and they were able to function like this one day after the earthquake. And then about 1 week later, the bank started reopening and so forth.
Great. I don't think there's a question there, but thanks for the comment. Yes, right, that's good. I did want to make... Yes. It's great you're taking advantage of it. I did want to just make one comment that USAID does care a great deal about the risks and the central bank's position. In fact, we're working on a risk matrix that we're working with on an implementing partner basis and closely with the central bank in Kenya as well. Other questions?
A comment? Yeah, I got a question right here. If
Yes.
Brad, you'd like to. There you go. Sorry, over here first.
My question is for the representative for Red Cross. When I look at Port-au-Prince, I'm from Haiti, and when I look at the tent city in Port-au-Prince, is there a way we can put a condition to the money, the visa, the cash, or the help you are providing to the people living in Port-au-Prince as a condition if they have family members or houses or land in the countryside for them to get out of this city? Because by providing them with cash and help and money, we are keeping them in Port-au-Prince. And we are putting their life in danger, disease, another quake, and violence, etc. There are a lot of family. I just came back from Haiti. A lot of family in Port-au-Prince that would go back to the countryside if we encourage them, strongly encourage them, or give them some incentive to get out of Port-au-Prince. And it will also give the international community and the government the space and the time to concentrate on rebuilding Port-au-Prince.
Yeah, thank you for raising that question and issue. And we are working closely with the government. The Haitian Red Cross is an auxiliary to the government. So the government has a strategy. The Haitian Red Cross will be in step with that, and so will the International Federation of Red Cross and Red Crescent Societies. The cash assistance program that we are providing right now is to save lives. There are 9 priority camps, and that cash assistance is part of a emergency relocation package. It's a voluntary relocation. They have 5 choices. They can return to a greenhouse house that has been designated as safe, move to a proximity site, or move to a new settlement, and that is being coordinated by the International Organization for Migration. And so that assistance package right now is moving people out of the dangerous zones within certain camps in Port-au-Prince. We have not yet begun providing cash grants to families in settlements in Port-au-Prince. That is still to be determined based on working through the Haitian Red Cross and through the government and other humanitarian actors in the clusters. And alluding to the technology, we can use the technology that's been developed using SMS through the remittance companies, possibly mobile banking in the future, to provide cash for host families. We are piloting that out in Lacaille. I spent 10 weeks in Haiti, so I'm very familiar with the situation, and we're working from Lacaille, Léogane, Jacmel, Petit Goave, Carrefour, et cetera, on down the line. And so we are aware of the potential need to decongest, but that is not our policy decision. And so we're working through the partners, and Cash for Host Families is a way to support families that have relocated outside of Port-au-Prince and need support in order to help them stabilize in a new location in one of the zones that's being developed by the Haitian government.
Jude.
I'm an advocate of technology, so I do think technology definitely could be helpful in the regards of mobile banking. My concerns are primarily in terms of the landscape in Haiti. First, from a policy standpoint, I don't think we're there yet. Political conditions, we're not there yet. Now you start looking at the social factors, education, the literacy rate, then it starts seeing more as a mountain that you'll have to overcome to advance mobile banking in Haiti. And myself, having been also former CIO with Frank Jose, I know how challenging mobile banking, as we were discussing in those boardrooms before, even in meetings. So I haven't heard a lot of that, and I don't want us to say that the future is impossible. But I would like also to have not these factors being overlooked. It is important that we bring the realities as well, as challenging as they may be. I'm not saying mobile banking is not the future, or Haiti could not adopt mobile banking as a way of the future, but I think it's important at this time. We way behind in mobile banking. We probably need to be talking about branch banking, mobile branch banking, for instance. Maybe it's a better closer to provide greater access to the communities, the rural communities that may not have a bank accessible. Haiti is largely a cash economy, so you have trust of the people, the social factors about trust. I mean, Haitians, if they don't touch it, they don't think it's money. So I mean, I'm just saying this as sharing experience for all of us here, so we are cognizant of these things as we look to these solutions and start thinking about how we want to have awareness, sensitivity, training, so that we can bring the trust in these future technologies. Thank you.
Yeah, I think it's an excellent point, and it's one that you have to be completely cognizant of when you go into any situation, Haiti or anywhere else. And I'll bring it back to the United States as an example to say that the spotlight shouldn't be shown on Haiti for any shortcomings there. It's an education issue for everyone. So if you go back to 2000, in 2001, the wireless industry was just emerging. We've been around in the States since '83, but interoperability in the States was still happening. Text messaging interoperability in the United States was deployed in June of 2001. In June of 2001, there were 30,000 text messages sent between the mobile operators in the States. June of 2005, 4 years later, there were 6 billion messages sent in the month of June. Yesterday, there were 6 billion messages sent in the States. It's about interoperability, it's about education, it's about awareness. And what we found, and we were doing these pilot programs to offer to do the grant and remittances, there were education issues, but they're not that significant that can't be overcome. So when you look at, we were using terminology that didn't resonate with the populace, so we can change a word, and then the participants can become clear. There's things that are intricacies about a program wherever you are, but there's key, to start and do something, and from there you can build, use some course corrections, not necessarily see changes, but you move and you get there eventually. You just got to start.
And, and let me raise something, because you actually had a great point, and I really value what was said. One of the ways, and Judy, when you talk about, Kenya, one of the things that M-Pesa did really well that nobody else has done well is that M-Pesa sends someone out to every agent once a month. They have training that goes over and over and over again. You don't just get trained once and think you can go figure out how to sell somebody a savings account. I mean, you're not going to buy a savings account from the same person who's selling you milk or juice or something else. It's different to sell airtime and a savings account. So you got to take that into account. And so those agents who are actually out there, that's their education force. And frankly, that's where almost all of the deployments that have gotten it wrong have made the mistake. I mean, it's one of them. It's, what's the product scope on day one? Who is actually educating the people? If I walk up to a stand to buy airtime and someone can't explain to me how mobile, minutes work, or how, why I'm going to send money using a cell phone, they're not going to do it. And they're going to tell their friends they didn't do it because they don't understand it. So that person is actually at point of sale. They're the ones who've got to know, and that's a huge cost. And that's one of the costs that, banks, mobile operators, and I used the term on one of the slide, tanks, for these telecoms that are acting like banks in some ways, they're getting wrong. And so that's the education process. And if you don't do that right, it'll be just like anything else. With a flash in the pan, and it didn't work. And it didn't work in Haiti, not because, there's an issue with Haiti versus Malawi versus Jordan versus any other country. South Africa, it hasn't worked well in South Africa. They're waiting for it to be done well, and Kenya's in the lead. Kenya's just got a better system on most things, but not everything.
Thank you very much. I think we're going to have to wrap up to allow time for the last panel of the morning. Thank you very much, panelists. Certainly we're not going to solve this problem here today, let alone in Haiti tomorrow. But hopefully in the next several months, we'll see some progress. Thanks very much.
Guys, thank you so much. I have to apologize to you guys. You've seen my face too much today, but we're coming up in the last panel, so I appreciate your patience. This is a really fascinating topic, and I think an important one to end on. We're going to have an opportunity to close the day with a discussion on education. There are few topics as critically important in rebuilding Haiti as we discuss this than education, quite clearly. Before the quake on January 12th, Haiti was the poorest country in the Americas. About 80% of the population lives below the poverty line. Approximately 50% of the Haitian people are illiterate, and fewer than 30% of the population reach 6th grade, just to put a few metrics on this problem. Those are already staggering odds before you throw into the mix a natural disaster of the scope that we saw on January 12th. The challenges were driven home for us back in February when a group of several of us, many of us here today, had the opportunity to travel to Port-au-Prince. We visited the University of Quisqueya while we were there. Many of you, I'm sure you know it, and that they were in the process of rebuilding or creating a new campus that they were quite proud of for very good reasons, but unfortunately was completely destroyed in the quake. So they're struggling with trying to open up again and provide that access for their students. While the challenges are intense, we owe it to the children of Haiti to think creatively on how to provide them the chance to learn and excel through education. I'm joined by three incredible gentlemen, many of whom have traveled to be here today, to explore how technology can help ensure that Haitians, youth in particular, have access to the right educational tools to pursue their dreams. Jeff Nesbitt is Legislative and Public Affairs Director at the National Science Foundation. Dan Hodges is Managing Partner at Conceptivity, and Al Leandra is Founder and President of Vilex. Gentlemen, thank you for being here today, and take it away with your Ignite shows.
Does this work?
This works. Great, so we're the last presentation of the day, so we have big pictures and small words. So make it interesting for everybody. Conceptivity is a digital consulting firm that helps companies, NGOs, and governments bridge the gap between what's possible and what's practical. And the education system in Haiti was leveled by the quake. And as a result, students can't go to school. And one of the things that Suzanne talked about was education. And the single most important factor in terms of someone's success is education. And these kids, I mean, how do we meet the needs of these children and these teens who have had their schools, the 15,000 schools, primary schools destroyed? And when the infrastructure is destroyed, what do you do when there are no computers and classrooms and books and materials that we're all used to in terms of the learning process? So one of the things that you see in all these mobile phones, and where do the classes meet? So once you have a situation where it's not safe to meet, that the children aren't being properly nourished, and what sort of environment is this for learning? And when there is no classroom, what do you do in a devastation like Haiti, where not only do we have earthquakes, but we have the upcoming 5-month hurricane season? So where do these children go, and what happens to their education? And what happens additionally in a disaster when these children are displaced? And not only are the schools destroyed, but actually the lives of the individual children are displaced. So you have an area of just a catastrophic impact here, and what and how do they learn in this environment where one day life is normal and the next day life is completely different? And so throughout the panel we've talked about mobile phones. There are about 3.5 million mobile phones in Haiti, around. There we go. Okay, back. And so one of the ideas here is to leverage mobile as an education tool. My background is I come from Nokia, and we have very We have programs around the world that have been very successful. In India, we have a program which helps young children learn English. And farmers, so for example, if Jeff and I were farmers, he and I would be going to the same village and selling our sugar cane for the past 4 generations. But with crop prices and information, we can actually, instead of going to Alexandria to sell our crop, we can actually go to Arlington and double our money. So basic information about agriculture and markets is important for a country like Haiti. And the Haitians are resourceful and innovative people. And in some ways, they are the world's leading experts on disasters. And that is something that could be marketable in the future. Let me tell you about a little bit of an innovation that we had in the Indian marketplace, where for $25, a phone was a radio, it was a flashlight, it was in 18 different languages, it was dustproof and weatherproof, and this type of innovation has really transformed rural India. The idea of a school in the pocket is a phone that can actually teach. When all the infrastructure is destroyed, what do you have? You've got the mobile infrastructure, and that mobile infrastructure are simple phones, feature phones, they're iPhones, and now Jeff.
So the National Science Foundation has funded 15 research teams looking at rapid research in Haiti. This is a screenshot from a webcast where we had a handful of researchers talk about aftershocks. I started to talk to Suzanne Hall and Katie Dowd about a very focused project, and here's a snapshot of that focused project at Quisqueya University. I've now facilitated more than a dozen discussions between the Vice Dean at Quisqueya for Engineering and Southern University, which has an MOU with the Haitian Ministry of Education to provide distance education. There's a lot on this slide, but the short version is we're looking at a pilot project, a very focused pilot project with Quisqueya to provide distance education through potentially an iTunes U and Apple EPUB system that will be very focused with 50 to 75 students, and we hope that can then be scaled up.
The young lady up there from the Afghanistan group talked about Afghanistan and what can we learn from Haiti. What we see here is that countries that have literacy of around 50% are, and there are quite a few of them, fit into a certain category. What if we could have a Marshall Plan to actually use all the technology that's available that wasn't available even 4 years ago and get Haiti to 85% literacy? What kind of an impact would that have on the country and actually be a model for the world? So thank you very much.
Again, good afternoon, everybody. I'm Al Leon, President and CEO of Alex Management Solutions Incorporated. I'm also a Haitian American, and I want to share with you today a concept of a new education paradigm for Haiti, something that we haven't tried before. Use education as a means of economic prosperity. In other words, invest in human development. And that's what I want to talk to you about today. So when you consider Haiti, what happened on January 12th, devastating, the infrastructure destruction, we know about all this. Many of us in the diaspora community were just utterly stunned and watching our TV screens and becoming much friendly with other people and seeing things that we hadn't seen before. Now, this picture actually was taken by my daughter, who was in Haiti just 2 months ago. And one of the things we noticed is that the people who were most inflicted by this were the ones who were most vulnerable to start with: children, students, women. And so, in addition to just sitting there in front of that TV screen, being mesmerized and watching CNN and becoming friends with Dr. Gupta and everybody else, you know, our brains started kind of turning. What can we do? And many of us, you know, in watching the devastation, started formulating ideas. So we joined Crisis Camp, for example. We started thinking about what sort of things can we do based on our own lives and how we work, et cetera. And then we started realizing that, you know what? Most of us have something. We are technology people. You know, I've been working for over 20 years in the defense electronics industry, and I understand technology, and we started thinking that way. So I got together with friends, Colleen, Gilles included in that group, and we started thinking about concepts. One concept that came up is this thing that we started doing at my company back in 2007 for DoD. It's called the Vilex Total Technology Pipeline. The idea is to develop a workforce from the start that will feed the Department of Defense. As you know, the federal government across the board is looking at issues to do with workforce aging, et cetera. But in the Department of Defense is even more of a problem because everybody in there must have a certain qualification, including a secret clearance, U.S. citizenship, et cetera. So we started working from the grassroots by having university relationships, working side by side with our DoD partners, and investing in students and developing them over time so they would have those jobs. And we figured something like this is very closely aligned to what we could start looking at Haiti, and how could we create a replica of the Vilex Total Technology Pipeline that will suit Haiti. So at the foundation of what we learned how to do is this mentorship concept. It's the idea that you can bring people and aggregate to actually support the students and feed them into job opportunities. Well, what Haiti needs right now is not necessarily education without the jobs. The VT, Virginia Tech ESIH project taught us something in that Haitian students are extremely bright and very, very disciplined, and we understand that. And having been as part of that project, we know that we can do things. Sure, there are barriers. Yeah, Haiti, like everywhere else in the developing world, technology has not exactly penetrated to 100%, but there are scenarios where even with that, there are things that can be accomplished. One of them is Haiti over the years has basically invested in space. Well, not literally, but really in the satellite arena, in that most of the communication backbone is on the Intelsat infrastructure. That has some limitations, some opportunities, and we know how to kind of work that in. Now, there is a prehistoric story and a post-story, and that's really a markation line in the wireless and the wireline situation in Haiti with the arrival of Digicel. All that changed when Digicel arrived in the country. So all the penetration that you've seen earlier completely changed. That's why, you know, you heard Dan talk about 3.5 some odd million cell phones in the country, and that number is rising every day. So the idea is there are things that can be done. There's a way to aggregate, for example, learning. So we may not have everybody sitting in front of their own computer at home, but maybe we can bring them together. Maybe there's a way to kind of create some sort of a formulation where you leverage electricity and broadband in one site and provide distance learning and content coming from abroad. There are things you can do with students who already know how to work in groups and collaboratively, which is something that is in the ethos of the Haitian student. So they know how to do these things. And we think we can inject STEM, the science, technology, engineering, and math into the curriculum to actually build the next generation of builders of Haiti in Haiti, keep them in Haiti, and develop them as a human asset for the country, and have an effect in this brain drain concept. So we think we can adopt the Vilex Total Technology Pipeline to fit Haiti. And we are definitely looking for partners. One of them is sitting in the room. Ann and I met very recently, so we're excited about that. Now, the thing is, at the root of this is going to be a support structure that includes, of course, the diaspora community and students who are looking at role modeling in terms of mentoring. Now, we have to take this seriously because I think Haiti still remains a very fragile place. And what we do today is very, very critical in terms of the student of the future that could be in Haiti. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thanks, man. Al, thanks. This was awesome. And also, as a note, Al put together that Ignite show like in the last 24 hours, so I think like triple kudos. Okay, so we're tired, but I bet there's questions because this is an awesome topic. Yes.
Hi, I'm Carl Cornell, and I'm with Teach the World online. And what we do is precisely what you just mentioned. We're running schools in all over Haiti, not all over, but in sort of the area and in LA. And we take a laptop and a monitor and put it in the location. And then we have volunteer teachers who teach from the United States. The program is going very well. And my question is, have you got additional, have you tried that? Is there anyone you know? We would be glad to collaborate with them, share information, etc. We think this is a tremendously successful program, a great way to get classrooms into places we couldn't go. We couldn't set up a school in Lagos, and the next day hold classes with the teacher in Seattle, or Denver, or New York, wherever. And right now, as we speak, we've got
No, thank you. I look forward to that. Part of what we're doing at the higher ed is within Vilex, but at the same time, I collaborate with multiple groups, including some like yours, where we're looking at the K-12 side. And there's actually a group, actually right not too far from here in Southern Maryland, that's actually looking at the K-12 education by partnering students with teachers and also students from here who can create more of a content. So definitely I want to talk to you further about that, because I think that's additional content we can find a way to formulate into piping down into those schools in Haiti.
I will say that I've had several discussions with senior officials at Apple, their higher education program, as well as their mobility services. And the pilot we're looking at is, in fact, using the iPad at a World Bank Institute Global Distance Learning Network Center that they're looking at on the ground. So it is possible that we could test a distance education pilot using the iPad, and it may, in fact, work quite well. Apple also has a continuity center that we're looking at posting some distance education materials for higher education, and we're also looking at lots of other things, facilitation, language transfer, and other things. But the use of the iPad is potentially groundbreaking, and we're probably going to test it in Haiti.
I'd like to add one more thing to that, and it's really, looking at the iPad, what it can do is that just this discussion about SMS, you can take that one step further, because you don't necessarily need Wi-Fi for the next generation iPad, where you can actually get that thing turned on by using, say, a Digicel or Voila type signal. And in that case, then you can access, broadband a lot quicker using the iPad as a device. And I think that if you go to that direction, then all of a sudden learning becomes even more distributed.
Just to add what Jeff and Al said, if you go into the Apple Store, or if you go into Ovi or BlackBerry, which you'll find there are education apps right there. So you can actually download these apps right now and start right now. So there's a lot of innovation out there that with a little bit of searching is available right now versus tomorrow.
And sorry, we have one more question from both Twitter. There are similar questions on Twitter and Ustream. And that is, how are we going to train Haitians to create their own content? What other activities or programs do you have in Haiti, or working with partners in Haiti to train people to develop their own course curriculum and so forth?
I think that's why we don't work in absence of the schools in Haiti. So everything we do is partnerships. And I know that you heard about the Quisqueya partnership. We work, for example, with a school in Haiti. It's an IT school. It's called the ESIH. And there are others, as the Notre Dame School, and also the university of the country itself, the National University. So by working with faculty at those schools, then you get the content that is rich and that evolves from the country itself, as opposed to bringing some content from outside. But the thing is, we facilitate that by bringing the technology and bringing in those tools to make that content more feasible to be delivered.
And I just wanted to add, that's one of the reasons why we're introducing Quisqueya to American universities, is to be able to make sure that there's back and forth. And so whatever content resides online will be jointly shared with the officials from Quisqueya. So it's designed for that purpose.
I'd just like to add one thing on content. I guess 80 to 85% of all the content on the web today is English language. And Haiti, over time, is really turning into, more or less, because of proximity to the U.S. and people like myself who go back and forth, et cetera, into an English-speaking zone, even though, French remains, the dominant language in terms of business and education, et cetera. So I would say that when you start looking at the content, I think the formulation is becoming to be that the content is actually leaning towards English. To the point that in some of those schools, including Quisqueya and the University d'État d'Haïti, that students actually are buying textbooks, like in English, in courses that are being taught in French. So there's a little bit of thing there to kind of really look at this content, and as it progresses into that English language side.
Thank you.
When you go again, I wanted just to mention quickly American University's involvement in education in Haiti. As I said earlier, I am an assistant professor of public policy at American University, and also I'm the director of international program at the Center for Public Finance Research. In that capacity, I manage the AU cooperation program with the Central Bank of Haiti. It is a cooperation program that started in 2009, June 2009, where it's a cooperation program on what is called strengthening financial management and policy-making capacity, where we, myself and a group of 4 other faculty, we go every other month to Haiti to deliver 4 credit courses in public finance. So at the end of the program, the people in Haiti and the Haitian government officials who are taking these courses, in fact there are 20 of them, they will be getting public finance certificate, exactly the same one that you could get here at American University. The only difference is that we do it in Haiti, and we do part of it by short-term visit there, but also through on-site training. And in addition to that, we are helping the central bank develop better their research section. So we are helping them putting in place working paper series, and also we are helping them stock their library there. So it's a yearly program. It started in June 2009. In December of last year, the vice provost of the university and the dean of my department went to Haiti in order to negotiate the second part of the contract. So it's going to be a multi-year program. And in fact, the central bank is currently thinking about expanding the program to reach many more people, because currently it focuses only on 20 government officials, and they come from various ministries, including, for example, the Office of the Prime Minister, the Ministry of Planning, the Ministry of Finance, and also, of course, the central bank. So we are in the process of expanding the work. The only problem that we have currently is that the facilities were destroyed at the central bank during the earthquake. So, and also one of the participants who was working at the Ministry of Planning died under the rubble. So that's why the program was interrupted in January, but we are thinking we are going to resume it in late summer. Had the earthquake not occurred, we would have had in June 2010 our first graduate class. So these people would have received their certificate in public management there. And one of the things that I want also to add, and the reason why that connection was made, and perhaps there is a possibility, it would be nice if something like this could be done again. The contacts that were established with the central bank in Haiti were due to the fact that between 1995 and 2000, the World Bank put in place a program where they recalled 20 Haitians who were finishing their doctorate degree in the US, and they called them to go back and work in Haiti for 5 years in key